It's your boy Colin, aka Deja Vu, coming at you with the first of a handful of installments in which I'll be breaking down a bunch of tracks that will be coming up with my latest EP, Vivid, in the hopes that not only for you producers out there, you can kind of get some tips and tricks that hopefully will allow you guys to make yourselves better producers in the studio, but for you electronic dance music fans, you guys can get a behind the scenes look at what goes into every single track. So, I'm just going to talk a little bit about how I came up with this specific track, Ignite. I'll switch over to my computer and then I'll break down the track for you guys. So, the story behind the track. Ignite actually started out as a collaboration between my man Vekio and myself that actually went over to his house and we were just jamming on a piano over to Tiesto and Casimir's tracks, Secrets. And when I pull up the track, you actually notice a lot of similarities between the two. You'll see that they're both in E minor, both use a lot of sawtooth waveforms, the most harmonically rich sort of waveforms, both around 120, 130 BPM. This one's a little bit faster. Basically, that's how we came up with the melody. We jammed at his house. We got the melody there. We couldn't really, at least at his place, we couldn't really get the sound design layering really well down. We were like, nah, you know what, the melody isn't good. We'll just leave it later. But you know, at least going home, it just got stuck in my head so much, and I figured, you know what, I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna make a track out of this. So I spent 3 days just delving into it, tweaking out all the different little sound design minutia, and came out with the final product. So that's the backstory behind the track. Really glad we pushed through with it. So without further ado, let me break down the track for you guys in the actual digital audio workstation itself. Alright, so here you'll see this is the full project for my collaboration with Vekio Ignite. We'll go down first to the breakdowns. Go to that. So what I did here, and I think this it was a Omnisphere, just a basic, I think, square, kind of a crossbreed between square and saw wave. Pulled up, I think it was a virus, preset in the classic waveforms. Went to the square, went to a bunch of different ones. So it kind of has a really warm feel, but not necessarily your typical silent warm feel to it. Then went in, put a little bit of unison on. Trying to figure out, I think Wave Shaper, it looks like I put a little bit of bit crusher on this. I give it a little bit of different timbre. So that kind of really fills out the mid-range with the bass. And then a trick that I'm sure some of you producers are familiar with, but just in case you aren't, and I know many of you EDM lovers out there will love knowing, is that in terms of the high end for this, is what's kind of giving it that sparkle is it's just plain white noise. So if you take this away, you know, it has that warm feel, but the instant you put the white noise on top, gives it that really crisp top end. And even for you guys who like using white noise, what I like to do is I actually put a little bit of distortion on top of it. So I do a little bit of Camel Crusher. It just kind of gives it a little bit of an edgier high end. That way it gives it a little bit more of a unique flavor. And I feel like it gives a nice crispy top end. And then, again, you just high pass it. Because, if you distort it in anything lower than that, it's going to sound really, really raw, and it doesn't sound good in context with everything else. And then, again, sidechain to the kick for you EDM lovers. It's kind of what gives it that pumpy feel. So if I go here, what sidechaining does is every time the kick hits, all the other elements that I sidechained it to just duck. So it gives it that pumpy feel that you hear. And I'll just actually have to unmute everything. So everything's kind of ducking in and out. Again, it's a little bit clippy, so you may not be able to hear it too well. If you go to the final version, which should be released hopefully within the next week or two, you'll be able to hear that sound to it. Let's see. Oh, in terms, I think the lead, I kind of like what I did on the lead here. You guys might get something out of this. So what that is, it's actually... It may, at least to some of you newer guys, it may sound like a lot, but actually it's super, super simple. And again, some of you guys are like, nah, it definitely isn't, depending on your skill level. But what it is, all it is a solid wave. So what I have here, if I turn down, so I have a saw wave, detuned, fair amount, 3 voices, and it kind of gives, so one thing I noticed about leads is if you give it kind of a fuzzy top, in order to kind of give it not just a bland, your stock preset sound to it. If you could do a few voices, do a little detune, give it some unison, it kind of gives it that nice fuller sound to it. Then I put a octave, at least I put another sawtooth thing, and I put an octave down. And I'm not exactly sure why it does that, but again, this is something that, at least with the experimentation, kind of give it a nice sound. So at least you can go ahead and steal the presets if you want to. But yeah, then in terms of one thing I like to do, and I've talked about it on Instagram a lot, is to kind of give it that plucky sound. Is if you go down to your mod envelopes, you select pitch, AB, not pan AB. You don't want that, and you just put a little bit of a decay up here. It gives it kind of a nice plucky sound that, at least because it's running the CPU so hard, you may not be able to hear, but you just have to take my word for me on that. Then over here, this is actually where a lot of the thick rawness sound of it goes. It's at least for a lot of leads that you hear from the professionals, the reason why your lead may not be necessarily sounding good as that is because there's usually a fair amount of distortion going on top. So what I have going on here, so actually I'll take this all off so you can hear what it sounds like without it. So you kind of have that, that kind of weak and sound of silence. So what, I'll put a sound goodizer, so it kind of gives it a little bit more top end on it. Just use the A preset. I think that's pretty much the only one I use. Then Camel Crusher, what I like, it kind of gives it that raw, thick edge, gives it a little bit more grit in the mid range. Then the first EQ, if you notice, there's some really, really low harmonics coming in. Yeah, so there's some low harmonics came in, so I cut that out. There's some areas that I heard the sound was peaking too much, so I EQ'd that out. And again, in terms of how I figured that out, I wish I could put it like, say, oh, okay, if the dB's over this much at this frequency, you duck it down. But it's really something you have to develop an ear for, and I wish I could make it simple, but again, you just have to make a lot of tracks. So there's that for, and then again, some more tweaking here with this one. I think, this was to make room for later on the track. You'll hear, I think, where is it? Yeah, you'll hear this Nexus preset come in on the top end, and that at least that little peak frequency right there is just to make room for that. And then actually I'll plug in, I really like using, it's free, and oh man, it's so good. You guys should definitely get it. It's a limiter called Limax. You can just crank the threshold down, and you can actually pull it down pretty far, and you don't really get any noticeable distortion like you do on the other limiters that you see. So I'll pull that all the way down, and then it'll really bring out the lead altogether, so you get that. So without, actually I'll take that one. So it pops out a little bit more, really closes the dynamics in a little bit more. Did some more tweaking because there were some frequencies, again, when I limited it, I didn't like, so I did more tweaking. And again, I wish I could tell you guys how exactly to do it, but you have to really just develop an ear for it, and that's only done by listening over and over again. This is the sidechain element to it, so what I'll do here is I'll take my kick, I'll right-click my lead, I'll hit sidechain to this track. I'll set it because the kick aux is on insert 1, I'll go sidechain, go to 1, and then when I hit play, it'll start popping up and down when I turn on the kick. So see, pumping up and down, baby, pumping up and down. Let's go to your lead section. Yeah, okay. So if you look here, let's see. Yeah, so for one of them, it's the exact same preset, except for one of them, I did a decimate, so it gives it kind of a, I wouldn't say sparklier, but it gives it a different vibe altogether. So you have the call response, so the synth's the exact same, but it just, that little bit of distortion makes it a little bit different for 2 bars, so it keeps your ear interested. And the kind of the da-da-da-da-da-da, the does you hear, those are both Omnisphere. I'm not going to pop those up right now, because when you're running these things, that really drives the CPU if you have the actual plugin up itself. But what that is in the human voices section, I think it's like a jazz do. Select 2 different presets, so it gets like da 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 and do do do. So I have those 2 voices doing the call response thing again, and yeah, I think that pretty much takes the breakdown, picks it apart. In terms of, I think if you guys will listen to the mid part, this is the break part. So it's a guitar part, and that's also another Omnisphere thing. I think it was a lead guitar preset if you go into the guitar section. I don't think I did a whole lot to that. No, actually, yeah, all I did was just, I think, Oh yeah, I think I heard some frequency was peaking too much, so I just dipped that out really quick. But yeah, it really kind of gives it that cool. I wanted something that, because the breakdown was really really energetic, kind of again in the secret style. I wanted something that still kind of had that cool edgy, cool, yeah, kind of cool edgy feel to it. But I didn't want it to be super energetic because you had the break. The breakdown was already kind of pretty in your face as it is. So I found the guitar doing a little arpeggio was really really good. Kind of really helped on that. I think other than that, it's pretty much just the same repetition of elements over and over again, interspersed in and out here. So we'll end out with that. It's been the track breakdown of Ignite with my man Vekio. Again, it should be coming soon, within a week or two. Right now, trying to get either a YouTube channel or blogs lined up to release it. So if you're either a blog or YouTube channel watching this, and you would be interested in releasing it on your channel, either as a premiere or once it comes out because it was already premiered, just give me a shout at contact@djvu.com. You'll hit me up there. I'll get that set up for you. But for the rest of you guys, you'll just have to wait until one of those guys gets signed up. Hopefully, again, we'll be out in a week or two. But for now, that's been it. Hopefully, you producers got something valuable out of it. It's been your boy Colin Moore, aka DJVU, signing out for the first of many installments of this video series, in which I'll be breaking down tracks for my upcoming Vivid EP. If you guys like what you see and you would like to stay in the loop, hopefully be releasing about 8 more of these videos soon. Be sure to hit like, subscribe. If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to leave a comment, like the flag face. Just hit all the various buttons on the various social media networks. So with that, we'll sign out for now. Catch you guys later.